Alright then, this is not going to be a very long broadcast. Just thought I'd just quickly say hi to you guys. Say hi to the guys. Hi to the guys there. Alright. Alright then. Excellent, good to know that's working. Alright, just making sure everything's all fine and dandy. Just catching up with a friend, doing well, I'd say. Just and family over. And I'm remembering to maintain the place. Just give you a little behind the scenes of my life. Alright, who's gonna bother to hop in? I don't know if anyone's gonna bother hopping in, but you know, it's fun to say. I guess this is more of a little experiment to see if anyone's gonna be bothering to hop in. But it's apparently Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday today, so just wanted to just take a moment to just acknowledge what this man did, as well as point something out. Because this one man has definitely helped contribute so much to equality in America, and well, as well as for the globe, as a natural impact of that. We should all be grateful for that. At the same time, there seems to be the stigma going on in regards to the woke crowd. The woke crowd, I've noticed, have this double standard when it comes to representation, and it's a kind of double standard that Martin Luther King Jr. himself would not approve of. Honestly, the woke crowd will probably claim that they're in line with Martin Luther King Jr., but in reality, they'd be more in line with Malcolm X, if you ask me. Malcolm X was the more extreme version of Martin Luther King Jr. There's a reason why Marvel here took inspiration from Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X when they were writing about Professor X and Magneto. You know, one of many contributions. Also, Marvel Rivals is still a pretty awesome game. Marvel My Hero Academia Art Exchange. That's pretty cool. Also, I misspelled Luther. I misspelled Luther. Martin Arnold Jr. King Jr. Oh, I didn't even spell his full name. It's Martin Luther King Jr. What am I doing to myself? Anyway, I guess more input for Ecosia there. But there's something I wanted to highlight about Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous speech of "I Have a Dream." There was one part of the speech where he said, "I do that someday that." Now, of course, I won't know the speech like word to word, but it is a very famous speech, and I'll need to take the time to learn it word for word. But there was one particular part of the speech that I do remember, where he said, "I want to live in a society, or we will live in a society, where people will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." Now, I wanted to highlight that part of the speech in particular for this live stream, because there's this double standard going on. Because I've noticed there's this with this push with the woke crowd, like obviously, like it's important to have representation in fiction. Like even Martin Luther King Jr. himself approved of Uhura being in Star Trek, and he definitely gave a big approval of Uhura kissing Captain Kirk in the first interracial kiss scene in television media. Star Trek back then was very, very revolutionary in what it was able to achieve, unlike modern Star Trek shows. So, and obviously, like, we should be grateful for like award shows that give credit to genuine talent when it's deserved, and it was given to the side actress who performed in, was it Gone with the Wind, if I'm not mistaken? She was the first African American to win that award, and many people were very, very grateful. It was a monumental part of history, and people are grateful for that. But there seems to be this confusion in the modern culture. People have confused genuine milestones of good character that happen to be achieved by people with the skin color, and they are confusing that with, oh, you can only relate to such and such if you are this skin color. There seems to be this confusion going on. There's this double standard going on. I've noticed that Marvel's been pushing this book called A Hero Who Looks Like You. Now, again, this like characters like Uhura were very much appreciated back in the in Martin Luther King Jr.'s day, because that was necessary and it was much appreciated. But nowadays, there seems to be this push of virtue signaling that has a double standard, and the double standard goes as follows: you cannot relate to a hero unless such and such looks like you. But there are so many problems with that line of thinking. Like, for example, Marlin the fish from Finding Nemo trying to look for his son, like, and overcoming his fears. Do I have to be a fish to relate to a character who's trying to overcome his fears? Like, or like the Arbiter from the Halo series, going through disillusionment and finding out the truth. Do I have to be a reptilian alien to relate to the Arbiter's sense of realizing the truth? Like, once you realize this double standard, this is absolute nonsense. And it needs to be called out, because there are so many people who are responding to this very negatively, saying, look, I don't care if you're Chinese, if you're a woman, if you're man or woman, whatever. All we care about is if you can do heroic deeds. And there seems to be this push off, oh, you can't relate to, oh, Steve Rogers, oh, you can't relate to his sense of sacrifice, you can't relate to his sense of heroism and his need to reconcile with his friend Bucky. No. Those characteristics mean dog poop, unless he looks like you. And that's such a double standard, because there are people online saying, hey, I am an African American man and I relate to Steve Rogers, or I'm Chinese and I relate to Blade. Like, you don't have to be a certain ethnicity in order to relate to people. And it goes back to what Martin Luther King Jr. was saying. Judge people not by the color of their skin, but by the quality of their character. Seriously, what is this implying? It's implying judgment by the color of your skin. And it's such a stupid double standard that needs to be called out. So that's something worth notifying, especially on Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, of all things. We need to be aware of this sort of thing. Alright, so rambling about that over, let's move on to the next topic. Half-Life 3 confirmed? It seems to imply as such, because Mike Shapiro here, who is the voice actor of Barney and the G-Man from the Half-Life series, has made a post. Now, the thing about fans is that they'll catch on to any and every hint online. And from what I've heard, Mike Shapiro said he would not allow himself to make a post like this unless it was related to something that Valve was going to release. Like, he did this years ago when, as a way of foreshadowing Half-Life Alyx. I mean, people were still anticipating Half-Life 3, but it's something. You know what? It would not surprise me if what we got next was not Half-Life 3, but like, I don't know, like Half-Life 3 Prelude, or like Half-Life 2 Episode 3. Or, you know, something like that, you know? Or maybe like another VR game, but with Gordon Freeman's perspective this time. Let's take a listen to what Mark has to say.
Another year already. Good.
Oh wait, what? Is the sound working? Oh wait, I was...
Another year already.
Why is the sound not
Good to
working?
see and hear from it.
Anyway, he was basically saying Happy New Year and do prepare for consequences. Is my microphone even working? Yep, my microphone's still working. So yeah, we'll expect something Half-Life related in the future, and people will be anticipating that. Also, one other thing, I just thought I'd make more tier lists, especially to inspire future writers. I need to get myself more familiar with a lot of these anime content, but I wanted to get your focus on some of these characters here. The best anime villains, anime/manga villains. You got Dio the Vampire here, who is basically so overtly evil, he makes all the Disney villains combined look subtle by comparison. This was how over the top he is. You got some of the other characters from Demon Slayer, Lelouch v. Britannia, you got Death Note. But I wanted you to focus on these villains here. You got Askeladd from Vinland Saga, Griffith from Berserk, and Johann Liebert here from the Monster series. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Monster is one of the best anime/manga stories I've ever experienced, and Johann Liebert is a major contributor to what makes that story so powerful. Like, Johann is very much like the Death Wolf from Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, in that he keeps this sense of suspense and threat sustained throughout the story, and there's definitely themes of child indoctrination that are very much implied there, that makes for some powerful storytelling. One last thing, here's another tier list I've been working on. Not that it was made by me, of course, but this is just something I saw trending on the tier list. I thought, you know what, why not give it a go? And it'll give people some insight about me and my taste in video games. Like, for example, Flappy Bird is an abomination that can go straight to hell. These games right here, Warrior Within, Overwatch 2, and The Last of Us Part 2, have been infamously divisive. These games, Halo 5, Sonic Forces, Resident Evil 6, Gotham Knights, had a less negative reception, but overall still thought of as lesser. Absolutely lesser. Sonic, I will admit, Sonic 06 does have its shining moments, but obviously it's still let down. Like, Metroid Other M has some gameplay moments, but the story sucks. Resident Evil 3 had the potential to be a great remake, but doesn't compare to the original, which I've actually played. The FNAF sequels gets carried away with the jump scares just becoming increasingly redundant. Gimmicky controls or lackluster content. Simpsons game has a lot of humor to it, but there's not really much to go back to replay value wise, which is unfortunate. These games have their qualities, but have a few flaws to set them back. And these games are generally great overall. But these games I would consider to be utter masterpieces. So, like, these Team Ico games, Sonic Adventure 2, Plague Tale Requiem, Portal 2, the Ori series, Papers, Please, Ghost of Tsushima, Metal Gear Solid 3, Arkham City, the Professor Layton series, Spec Ops: The Line, Shadow Generations. These are the kind of games that not only have excellent gameplay, but also have excellent narratives. And that's the kind of thing I want to see more of in the video game industry. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got time for today. So I'll just let you have one last look at what I'm working on so far. No doubt if you had access to this and made your own contributions, you would inevitably make your own changes and stuff like that. But that's all I've got time for today. Just thought I'd say hello to you all, and thank you all.